So 10 global invitational, I can finally get to it, let's make it quick. So we're gonna start with Wolves, and we're gonna go straight to round 9 of Split, because this is really the only round I could find where I wanna actually praise them. Wolves honestly looked horrible in this playoff, at least I only watched the playoffs, so maybe in the group stage they looked better, I don't know. Here they looked horrible, this entire map was kinda a mess. The first like 7 rounds, I could all clip them all and just, make like a fail compilation out of them, honestly. They were so horrible. But yeah, what I do find interesting is that Wolves were actually the only team here to play Veto. And honestly, I didn't see them use it in any interesting ways. Now, if we turn to the minimap here and look at what they're cooking up for this round, you can see that they want to take the mains and leave mid open for the start here, which, fair enough. Their hope will be to at least take control of one of the mains and see what they can do from there. So let's see how it goes. So at the start here, we're going to see that there's going to be an exchange in A main. We got some fade util, we got comeback pushing aggressively. And comeback, it's been a bit of a constant thing in this game that comeback was whiffing shots. And we're also going to see that B main was taken by Wolves at this point. They will now regroup into mid. You can see that heretics re-clear A main with some util, and they also start to regroup. And Wolves' idea here is going to be to make some noise mid, clear behind the boxes. And as you can see, they pulled some eyes towards it. You've got comeback holding it now. And at this point in the round, they have 2 players already in B main, third person joining them, and 2 people mid. So they are setting up for a B split. And you can also see that actually on A, the side, main has been given up. So heretics again lost a bit of control there. So playing on side like that will be a bit late with the rotations, and we're gonna see the execute now. Yeah, let's see them walk up mid first actually. They're gonna fate haunt, and here we're gonna see comeback unfortunately whiff again in a second, and this is what kicks this round off. We also get an aggressive push actually, before we get this shot. We get an aggressive push into B main from Heretics Viper. That was Benji Fishy, I'm pretty sure. But you can also see that we actually got a rotation back towards A from the fade because of Wood's race giving up all this space in main. They started getting a bit antsy, a bit unsure if maybe Heaven was being taken by a lurker. And so they rotate back towards A while the hit is about to come in on B. We can even see that Boo is actually rotating off of site as well. And yeah, I mean, they just get caught off guard pretty badly here. As you can see, comeback, missing the shot. Benji with a judge here, he will get a bit of a lucky kill here. As you'll see in a moment, he's gonna be aiming for Satoshi and he will hit Joa right here. But after some trades, Yosemite gets a kill for the smoke as well, and they have the site, and the post plant is very solid from them. They set up the Vito orb. I don't know what it's called really. I haven't learned the names yet. And yeah, they just have a 3v2 with a Viper Spit, pretty unwinnable for Heretics. Wood and Patitek left alone to try to retake this, and here you can see Spring spots out Wood's head, gets the kill, Patitek swings back into him, Spring gets the kill. This is a nice round from them, and this is really the only good round they've played again. I don't think any other round was worth showing here. I mean, they had a bunch of very messy plays earlier, like especially in the first few rounds of the split, there were some crazy TPs, there were some very odd util usage moments, like not clearing angles properly, just terrible game to be honest, and Wolves just didn't look good at all, they didn't impress. Neither did Heretics, to be honest. Heretics also looked pretty bad throughout this tournament. And for Heretics, I actually want to go straight into round 10. Now, in round 9, we've seen a bit of aggression from them towards A main, and we're gonna see them use it, because they've been doing it a couple of times earlier, so we're gonna see them use that conditioning now in this round. So yeah, let's play it through a bit, and you'll see what I mean. So as you can see, there is only the Omen on A, everybody else is in mid. What you're gonna see is that Boo will send out a Paranoia here, and then a smoke deep into A main, hoping to fake out some A pressure. Wolves don't budge, they have 3 players there and they just clear it all back. But I wanted to show this because I think this shows that they still, had their at least fundamentals in check, right? Like they knew how conditioning worked still, they didn't forget that, which is great. It's great to see them trying to use it. And of course Satoshi here cleans up in mid, but I think this could have worked really well if Wolves had like a lurker on A. Or maybe, if they just got scared a bit more of that Paranoia and stayed back for a second longer. Satoshi could then maybe think, oh, if they're aggroing A, then mid has to be a free take, right? And, he could get caught off guard on an eco like that. He does get the 2 kills, and if we just skip forward a bit, You'll see that Wolves will close the round out eventually. Yep, Satoshi and Joa just clean them up. But I think it was a nice idea, so I wanted to show it. Yeah, and then to show one more round from this map. We're gonna look at this round here, round 20. So as you see here, they have 3 players around B main, they have Comeback coming towards A to lurk there, and Benji will actually go into spawn and throw a lineup towards mid. You'll see that in a second as well. So yeah, if we look here, they're gonna take B main at the start. We're gonna get some fade util, we're gonna get a TP, we're gonna get a nade, and they take B main, right? And Satoshi hears and sees a bunch of it. They also manage to spot him on the jump pick and force him off the angle. And in the meantime, Comeback is just lurking around A, and they go regroup into mid. And now in mid, you can see that they send a boombot, and they will be taking the space into, right here, into ropes. Yeah, forgot the name, into ropes. And they will actually go for a fight there against the players from Wolves. And, you know, there will be some trades. As you can see here, Patitek gets 2 kills, Spring gets 1, Yosemite unable to help them here. But in the meantime, what they've done is actually, you know, they've created a disruption here on B. They've created a disruption here in mid. And that got Joa to push up onto A bit. And now what they're gonna do is just walk up and catch him off guard because, you know, he thought he would have some free space here. Instead, what happens is the wall drops and there's 2 players in front of him with rifles. So he just goes down, which is just a very nice showcase of them understanding how the map works. And you know, Patitek's on this flank as well, where he will kill Yosemite and pretty much close the round out. You know, Satoshi gonna be left to save. Pretty nice round from Heretics. Now in the next game, Heretics played against Nongshim, and you know, I already covered the Sunset in a separate video, but split was much closer, and honestly this split was way better than the one they played against Wolves. They just got kinda dragged into Nongshim's playstyle, and they just tried beating them at their own game and didn't manage to do it. But in round 26 here in overtime, they actually slowed down the game, and I think slowing down the game is what they needed because this round goes pretty well for them. So if we look at the minimap, you can see that Heretics are on the attack here, and they are going to just play a default. Meanwhile, Nongshim are setting up for a mid play on the defense. Let's see how it plays out. Yeah, you're gonna see that there is an omen smoke here already from the defenders to cut off some vision. There is also a teleport coming from the Yoru, so he's gonna go for an aggressive play here. And the Heretics are just waiting. They're just sitting back. Look, both mains, if you look at the minimap here, you also got both mains held from far away. You know, the Chamber sitting here in spawn pretty much. The Viper even further back. They're just ready for an aggressive play from Nongshim. And this is what they should have done a lot more, I feel like. Especially on the attack, where they would often just go a bit too fast and get caught by a barrage of util from Nongshim. And Nongshim seeing nobody push, you know, they start just wandering around the map a bit. You can see them running across mid, you know, not really paying too much attention. And now Heretics go for a re-clear of mid. But after they do it, after they send the Prowler in, you can see that they don't immediately push. Again, they pause, they wait. And Nongshim actually go for their own re-clear right afterwards. But in the meantime, you know, Heretics just positioned and got ready for them to do exactly that. And took some more control of both mains, as you can see. And yeah, as you get this push here, eventually, you know, Boo just finds Francis and kills him. And Dambi is unable to refrag and dies to Patitek. And this round, from this point on, is pretty much under control for Heretics. And as you can see here, if you look at the clock, they wait pretty much till it's 30 seconds till the end to actually push anything. And, you know, once 30 seconds have passed and there's 30 seconds left, they go and push B. And they just run over Nongshim in this round. You know, Patitek will die here, but it is a clean round from them. Extras left alone in 1v4, can't do much. Yeah, nice round from Heretics, too bad we didn't see many more like this one. Let's move on to DRX, the team that got beat in the final. So DRX lost the final, but I don't feel like they played poorly. I feel like they actually looked pretty good. And, you know, we're gonna go through Pearl and Bind here. I kinda overslept to watch Split. Pearl and Bind, we're gonna look at some of the plays they made and what they did to, you know, to win this map and ultimately lose Bind. But they still look pretty good, especially in terms of individuals. Now, when it comes to Pearl, I think they had one big major quality that let them win, and that was definitely from Flashback opping. His opping was really good in the series, and Nongshim struggled to deal with it. We're gonna talk about it more once we get to Nongshim, but if we look at this round here, Flashback insane shot at the start, and Nongshim just, you know, dry picking, like the neon there, trying to just jump across. This is something they've done a lot, and Flashback punished it every time. You will also see here with the judge, it is the guy who's in for Hyunmin, Flicker. Yeah, Flicker gonna get a kill here on Ivy. Flashback gets a second kill on Francis, who swung in A main. And you're gonna see that he will get one more kill on the Sova in a second here. Well, more than a second, I guess. Yeah, Flicker takes down X-Ross, and RB just dies through the smoke. Now on Bind, they did really well on the defense. They got 8 rounds, and I think they looked solid again. But I'm gonna explain exactly what I liked so much about their defense, and I think this is something they pretty much always do. And they also did it here. I just wanna highlight it. Let's go. So we will see here Flashback will go a bit aggressive here at the start. And, you know, this is all fine. He's got some backup from his Viper, gets that first kill. Maybe should have jumped to TP out, instead Ivy headshots him. It's all fine, it's all fine. But in the meantime, you'll see that, yeah, on the minimap here, let's take a look. Flicker is pushing in to reclear Showers. Because, you know, they got some contact early A main. He wants to make sure that Showers is locked down. But what I really want you to pay attention to is Freeing's position, right? Because Freeing, when Flashback was still alive, he played a lot closer to the left side here, around this place. And, you know, as soon as Flashback dies, he retreats here and is now playing right next to Flicker. We also get the rotation already from Mako. And you'll see in a while how his positioning is pretty important here. Flicker will win this fight against Francis, actually, give them a man advantage. And Freeing, you know, as Flicker gets more space there, he will come back to hold this area a bit more. And you get Mako also coming onto site now, ready to help. But Mako also does a really nice thing here, which is he just retreats into spawn and sits there ready for a rotation either way. And Flicker gets contact in Showers, takes a bit of an aggressive pick, you know, TP's out. But what you're gonna see here is that Freeing is again in this position where he's close to him. So when Flicker takes this fight and he loses it, Freeing can just run in and trade immediately. So I just really like the way they like chain their defense, you know? Like if one person moves somewhere, another person is nearby to refrag. They don't leave anyone out for themselves. Like when Bane is holding B here, you get Mako coming back into spawn to be ready for a quick rotation. When, not Francis, when Flashback dies, you have immediately Freeing moving back to help Flicker in case he gets swung, so that, you know, he can trade him since he couldn't trade Flashback, right? Even when Flashback died, Freeing was there, he just got cut off by the Viper wall, so he couldn't refrag. But if the Viper wall was put down, or if he got lucky spam, this would be a refrag again. So yeah, I think they changed their defense really nice, just everyone has support. And you can see that Mako here is just now, you know, making up for where Flashback used to be. Takes down RB, and this just leaves a 0 HP Ivy to fend for himself. And of course he cannot win a round like this. So that's a nice one for the RX. But on the attack, the RX started to run into some trouble. They won the pistol and made it up to 10 rounds. However, on the full buys, they struggled a lot against Nongshim's aggression. So if we look at the minimap here, you can see the RX is poised for a full B take. Meanwhile, Nongshim have a majority A setup, so this looks like a pretty good start of the round for them. But the interesting part is Nongshim are not actually planning to play around A, because as you'll see in the first few seconds of the round, immediately they Yoru TP. And the Yoru immediately opens the door and swings through. And you can see that the waylay here is actually stuck in the corner now a bit. And yeah, Francis, you know, he will get smoked off actually, which is a crazy thing that, by the way, they force a smoke to go down on the teleporter door. How crazy is that, right? Like having to waste a brim smoke and non-rechargeable smoke on that angle. But they realize there's an op there probably, so they try to smoke it off. And what's gonna happen is Francis is just gonna swing through and still get the kill on Flicker and TP out. So yeah, that's just honestly insane stuff from Nongshim here. And this is something that's been happening throughout this half, right? It's just Nongshim aggro picking into the RX's players who are just not expecting it. Like here, you know, Waylay just not expecting Francis to be swinging through the smoke, swings out and dies to the op. Now in response to that, what we get is DRX pop the Yoru ult and run onto the B side. But this entire situation in mid there, it creates a big issue for this side take. And you'll see what I mean in a second. I want to just focus on the minimap for a while, because you can see that there's two players from Nongshim on side fighting. And now the Yoru is out of his ult already. But the issue is he is now stuck between players of Nongshim. And this Brim ult, I want to look at this Brim ult as well, because this Brim ult just doesn't work when you don't have hookah control. And you don't have hookah control because you lost the fight in mid and now you just got RB holding this. So they are never worried about just running to this side and avoiding it completely. And with that oversight, I mean, DRX just lose the round afterwards because, yeah, extras kills flashback since the ult doesn't create any real pressure, and then they ult them back because they know that nobody's picked out yet. There wasn't enough time simply because they just checked long with this two-man setup they had. So yeah, they just wipe the floor with DRX in this round and go on a flawless win. And they win the game by just playing very aggressively and DRX not knowing how to handle it. But what I have to say here about DRX is that DRX did play well in this game. They had some very nice moments individually, and I think if they had Hyunmin, I think it's very likely that they would have won here against Nongshim. Flicker is not bad per se, but he is a different player. It's a bit of a different comms situation. It's a bit of, a player who's less used to playing with them. I think that if they had Hyunmin, it would be a lot better for them, and I think they would have won. They had Flicker, and congrats to Nongshim. Let's move on to them.
Turn up with K-Ramyun. Nongshim Shinramyun.
So when it comes to Nongshim at the start, I wanted to be a bit of a negative Nancy, and I wanted to showcase an issue that I think they had for pretty much their entire time as a team, and it still exists, and it still haunts them. So let's take a look at this round. This is round 16 on the split against Heretics, and you can see Nongshim on the defense here. They are positioned for a mid take, just like we've seen in the previous clip. But let's take a look at what happens here, because they start the round off very well, actually. They started very well. If you look here, they will go for this walk down mid. They will hear Wood jumping, and Dambi gets the kill on Patirek, stuns this way, and just, they are ready for Wood. Dambi does some of his typical chicanery, but they started the round off incredibly well, right? They're immediately in a 5v4, and they've all managed to back out without losing a player. Now the issue comes from what they do next, and again, I kind of want to focus on the minimap more here, because you're in a 5v4 here, you've got the advantage, they regroup in mid, but why is RB pushing this? Exactly. I don't really know why. Let's take a look at it here, because we can actually see that kill. Although not fully, but yeah, Benji kills him here. Why is he pushing this? There is no need to push this. And especially the way he does it, where he walks close to this wall that Benji's looking at right now. That is not how you swing angles, and that is not a situation that you swing angles in. But let's go back to the minimap, because we aren't done yet. We just lost RB. Well, how about we just lose another player, because we stand out in the open in mid. And I don't know what the miscommunication here was. Why did the Omen retreat? Why did the Neon retreat? But Ivy stayed back and just fought mid alone. But this way we go from a 5v3 to a 3v4 suddenly. And yeah, our advantage is gone. The funny thing is they still win this round, but they really shouldn't from this point on. So funny thing, my recording crashed. And I think something might be wrong with my mic now. But we'll see, I guess. I'm gonna try to finish the video and fix it in post maybe. So let's go over to the next map. Actually, skip some maps and go over straight to Bind. Final map of the final, and Nongshim is against the RX here. And we're gonna look at round 5 here. If we look here, you can see that Nongshim is going to go for a mid take, and they're gonna make some disruptions in hookah. Sorry if I'm speeding through it a bit, but I just recorded it. I'm doing it again now. Kind of out of it, So yeah, they will go into hookah, they will clear out Flicker, and they will start running back straight away. And now this is a very smart play, because in the earlier rounds, they've realized that the DRX Yoru is playing very aggressively around this area. So by forcing a trade in hookah, or in this case just a clean kill, they are forcing the Yoru to TP out and move the rotation towards B. So they're guaranteeing that on A, there's going to be a maximum of 2 players, because they made no noise around A whatsoever here. So now, as they go rotating, as you can see, there's just the Viper there and the Brimstone, who's already trying to rotate B, but, Mako's gonna come back. He's gonna stay on side. But yeah, now there's only 2 players instead of 3, like there would be otherwise. So, some nice showcase of map control of the push and pull here from Nongshim. Taking some space on B, then leaving and going back towards A, knowing that DRX did not re-clear the hookah angle. And yeah, Francis is just gonna go in with the ult here. He's gonna clear angles, see freeing. And Francis will die here, but it's okay, because, they don't really expect Dambi to come from behind them. So he just gets a freebie, he pops his ult, takes down Mako. A pretty nice execute here as well. And yeah, this is just a pretty nice round for them. I mean, DRX do make it a bit close here, as you'll see in a second. Bane will kill Ivy, yeah, and then, in a 2v2, actually. Oh no, sorry, not a 2v2. Okay, yeah, see, I'm messing up already. My bad. Yeah, here Dambi will try to go for an ace. A bit of an overheat, but it's fine because RB, he's got his back. He's gonna close out the round with 2 headshots from the Sheriff here. And yeah, that's a pretty good round from Nongshim, just dragging DRX all across the map. And to finish it off, I'd like to look at round 15. This is just going to be some nice aggressive defense from Nongshim. Yeah, let's go through it. I mean, you're gonna see that they will push B long early on here. But the real thing that I want to showcase here is how they play around without any info utility on A. So you can see that they push B long, they take a fight there. They don't really spot much. I mean, they see the fade, that's really it. Francis TP's out. And now, they don't really have any info on where anyone else is. They just know that DRX had some people outside of B long. And so they're going to group up around short here. And as you'll see now, Ivy gets spotted, but, Freeing doesn't expect Dambi. So they just walk up and clear it. And then, as you will see now, the Viper and the Race will regroup and start heading towards Showers. Again, the Fade is on B, so on A you don't really have any info util, and they are worried that there might be people grouping up in those angles. So they're gonna just walk up there and spot the Yoru. Unfortunately, you'll see in a second that Ivy will die. In the meantime here, RB takes some contact in hookah, he sends out a Prowler, it spots some people. Yeah, I mean, Ivy dies, but you're gonna see that Dambi now walks up behind Flashback, and Flashback just doesn't expect it. Again, Nongshim's level of aggression really caught DRX off guard, was a big part as to why they won this map, why they managed to make this comeback happen, because as you can see, they are 10-4 down, and they come back from 10-4 to win, I think, 13-11. A very good map from them, especially on the attack, on the defense, where, yeah, DRX's attack just wasn't able to really play around this aggression. And you can see even here RB just walking all the way through, Dambi getting back into a more deeper angle. And Bane will not check on him. I mean, he does, but it's a bit of a lazy check. Then Extra spots the last 2 players long. He dies to Mako, but it's a 3v1. Mako at this point, surrounded by players, tries to fake the plant, and won't manage to get even a kill out of that. And that was kind of the name of the game for Nongshim. They were just playing very nice aggressive Valorant on the defense. So yeah, this was a pretty fun event, I'd say. I mean, Heretics were a big disappointment. Wolves were a big disappointment, probably even bigger than Heretics, considering they lost to them. Nongshim played really well, and DRX, I feel like having Flicker kind of hurt them here. I feel like with Hyunmin they would do a lot better. But Nongshim, as you can see, just in the last round, another aggressive crunch into A main. RB already following up with a flank. DRX not ready for it yet. They absolutely deserved to win this in the end. But DRX looked good as well, don't get it wrong. Guys, they are really still a very dangerous team. Some of their players individually still with their champs form definitely intact. And in a second you'll see here RB just closing it out with that lurk. Yep, congrats Nongshim, great tournament from them. And a great tournament in general to watch.